welcome to Attorney Interviews, the YouTube channel. Thank you so much for joining today. For those of us at home who don't know you or what you do or where you do it, would you mind telling us a little bit about yourself? Aaron?
Sure. Yeah, I'll take it. Thanks for having us on, Adam. My name is Aaron Maples. This is my law partner, Brendan Connick, and we are Maples and Connick Gulf Coast trial lawyers. We are first and foremost courtroom attorneys, personal injury lawyers who practice in Louisiana, Alabama, and Georgia.
Brendan, what about you?
Yeah, the same. Personal injury attorney here in Louisiana, Alabama, and Georgia. Born and raised in New Orleans. I operate out of our New Orleans office. Aaron's based out of our Mobile office. And we, like we said, also have an office in Georgia. We've been practicing each for about 12 years now and recently started our firm a little less than a year ago. And things have been going well.
So how'd you guys meet?
So
Go ahead,
we
B.
actually met in law school, and Aaron was on the common law track, which means he was intending to practice in a state other than Louisiana. I was in the civil law track, which meant that I was going to stay in Louisiana and practice here locally. We met actually on a trial ad team our 2L year in law school, and became fast friends, and always had a dream of working together later in our careers, and somehow it came to fruition, and we're lucky it did.
Hey, Aaron, what got you interested in practicing law?
Yeah, it's interesting. I knew I couldn't just have a regular 9 to 5. I knew I wanted to do something that I felt like challenged me competitively. I grew up playing sports, and I knew I wanted something that drove me every day. And I knew I wanted to do something that I thought allowed me to make a difference, to really have an impact on people's lives. And I really just kind of fell into the law from that. Particularly trial law gives me the opportunity to scratch that competitive itch, so to speak. And doing personal injury work, walking hand in hand with clients every single day, you get to really have a positive impact on a client's life. And so I get to check both boxes with our practice on a day-to-day basis.
That's a fantastic answer. Brendan, what's the most rewarding part of your job?
I would say at the end of the day, it's knowing that you're able to help people that really need it. Aaron and I talk quite a bit. We never get a call from someone that's having a good day, or if you do, it's very rare. And so, having an opportunity to really kind of go to bat for somebody when they're in the biggest time of need, when they're having trouble paying their bills, or when they're having trouble getting medical treatment that they need, just helping them be able to get by and fight against that insurance company to really get them to the point to make them whole again, if they've been injured in a situation or something along those lines. But yeah, I'd say it's just interacting with people and knowing that you're able to help individuals is for me the most rewarding thing.
Yeah, I see that you guys have a very strong reputation in personal injury law. Aaron, what is a case that sticks out in your mind?
Yeah, there's a lot of them. I'll tell you the first one that comes to mind is I represent an individual who was injured in a coal mining accident. And to make a very long story short, this gentleman married his high school sweetheart, went to work in a coal mine in North Alabama right after graduation, and worked there for 20 years. He and his coworkers were down in actually what's one of the deepest mines in the United States, and they had reported a safety issue to the higher ups that ran the company. Their report went ignored. They reported it again. Their report went ignored. Essentially, they got the message of, listen, you guys do the job or somebody else is going to do it for you. And sure enough, exactly what they had warned about came to fruition. And this gentleman suffered a catastrophic injury to his arm. And the company fought it like crazy, and we got reports of all of the times they were warned about this issue. But I think the reason it comes to mind is because, I can recall very distinctly sitting in bed next to my wife at night, getting calls at 10 o'clock from this gentleman and his wife when they couldn't make the light bill, or they couldn't, their kids couldn't participate in sports programs that they were doing because their livelihood was completely taken out from under them. And to be able to become a part of that family, really, and walk them through that process, and ultimately obtain a very favorable resolution to that, was really, probably life-changing for me in addition to the client.
Man, yeah, it has to be so rewarding whenever things like that come to fruition, right? And you're able to actually help somebody. I see on your website that you guys handle a lot of nursing home cases. Brendan, can you tell us more about that?
Yeah, we that's actually more of a field that Aaron specializes in, so I'm gonna let him take that one, if that's all right.
Yeah, Aaron, can you tell us about the nuances of working with nursing home cases?
Sure. I'll tell you this, the thing that drives me to take these cases, and one reason why I really enjoy taking them is because, in my opinion, and I think most would agree, time is the most valuable when you have the least of it, right? And so when an individual comes to that stage in their life, they deserve for that time to be respected and for that time to be as enjoyable as possible given their circumstances. Unfortunately, given the state of our healthcare system, a lot of times that's the exact opposite is what they get. They get neglected, they get ignored, they get essentially put out to pasture. And in the South in particular, we have a lot of nursing homes that have some pretty egregious living conditions. And so there is a lot of nuance and technicality in handling these cases. But at the end of the day, for me, it's a righteous cause, and I really enjoy getting to, those are cases where you can really make a difference, where you can really send a message to a nursing home, to a company that owns hundreds of nursing homes, that, hey, this type of action is not okay and not acceptable, and it's not going to be the way we do things anymore. So those cases are near and dear to my heart.
Man, yeah, it takes a lot of compassion, I would imagine. Brendan and Aaron, I see you guys are both have been recognized numerous times by super lawyers, by best lawyers, ones to watch. Brendan, how important is reputation in this industry?
Reputation is absolutely everything. I mean, not only reputation as a lawyer to the public, but reputation amongst your peers and your colleagues as well. Um, you try to build up, especially our new firm. We want to build it up and let people who know who we are. But at the same time, we want people to know that we do things the right way and we care about our clients and we legitimately treat them like they're our family because that's how I would want to be treated. So doing a good job for the people, letting them know you're there, giving them your cell phone number, letting them call you any time of the day, and just having the patience to take 30 minutes out of your day and talk to them means the world to them. So not only the reputation, but also being reliable, someone that your clients can count on and know, hey, Mr. Brendan or Mr. Aaron's going to be there for me if and when I need them. So yeah, absolutely, it's vital to what we do.
Yeah, I mean, okay, so let's say that I just got into a car accident and I'm shopping for a personal injury lawyer. What are some things that I should be asking a personal injury lawyer when I'm in that interview stage?
B, I'm happy to take it. I mean, I think the very first and most important question that you can ask is, when's the last time you tried a case? Statistically, most cases settle, right? But you you want a lawyer that is capable and has experience in the courtroom and that is working your case up, preparing for trial. Because what we always say is from day one, you're either preparing for trial or you're preparing for settlement. And in order to maximize the value of your case and to truly get what you're worth, what your case is worth, you got to have a lawyer that is preparing it for trial. And so the first question I would ask is, when's the last time you tried a case? When's the last time you stood in front of a jury and asked a jury to compensate your client? And then the next question I would ask is, it sounds simple, but it's an important one, is, are you going to be the attorney handling my case? Are you going to be the one that picks up the phone when I call? A lot of times you call, one of these bigger shops and they're going to farm the case off to an inexperienced associate. You may never talk to that lead lawyer that answered the phone the first time. You never talk to him again. Or you may get a paralegal that really does most of the work on the case. So, when's the last time you tried a case? And are you going to be handling my case? Those are questions that I would want to know the answer to.
I don't meet a lot of personal injury attorneys that, talk about going to a trial. You guys are really a couple of the few that I talk to that we really get into conversations about that. Why is that so important to you that, you bring that to the table where a lot of other ones may look to settle?
B, you want it? You want me to?
Yeah, that's fine. Because that's, when you prepare your case to go to trial, that's how you maximize the value of your claim. And that's how you're going to get everything that your client deserves. I mean, the fact of the matter is, uh, settling allows you sometimes to resolve the case sooner than you otherwise would. And sometimes, the payout or is being offered is something your client's willing to accept. It's not always that case. And in fact, most of the time it's not, right? The insurance company is going to try to offer you low, and try to get you to get in and get out so that they can save money. But that's not always the right way to do it. And if you're not preparing to go to trial, then you won't be in that position at the end of the day. You pigeonhole yourself to where you're going to be forced to settle, or you might lose a trial. Then as a plaintiff attorney, you bear all the risk, and if you don't prevail at trial, you eat all the costs that you expended in that case. So, you know, trying the case is the best way to maximize the value for your client, and it goes towards reputation too. Eventually the insurance companies, they know who goes to trial, and they know who's willing to try it. And not to say that they're going to roll over or anything like that, but they have a little bit more respect for you, a higher regard, if you will, than they might with some other firms.
What are some of the biggest challenges you guys are facing in the industry today?
I mean, I think the first and foremost, the biggest challenge is the advertising firms. I mean, just as a smaller firm, we can't compete with the Morgan and Morgans of the world when it comes to, just name recognition. And I think, really every personal injury firm, if they're being honest, deals with that. You can be the best trial lawyer in the world, but if you don't have cases, it doesn't matter. We've been fortunate that we do have strong reputations that we've spent the last decade building, and so we're fortunate that we get cases from that. But yeah, it's a constant concern. Every time you settle a case or try a case, resolve a case, you're constantly worried about when the next one's going to walk in the door. So that's probably the biggest concern for any honest personal injury attorney. Next to that, there has been a more recent kind of resurgence of the tort reform efforts across the South, particularly in Georgia, where we have a lot of our work. That those were big. The big tort reform push was big in the late 90s and early 2000s. Kind of went away a little bit, coming back now. That's always a concern. It's a concern, more so even though our clients don't know it, it's a concern for our clients because the Seventh Amendment right to trial by jury is the only thing that protects them and allows them the ability to get compensated and made whole when something happens to them. Year after year, state legislatures across the country are trying to chip away at that by putting in arbitrary limitations on their rights to recovery. So I would say getting cases and then the fight in the capitals are probably the biggest concerns that we face.
Yeah, okay, so that brings up a huge point. So as a consumer, I have no control over any of that, right? Let's say that I just got rear-ended though. There are some things that I do have control over. What are some easy mistakes that I could make in that moment that would make it very difficult to either settle or win my case? Brendan?
Yeah, two stick out right away. Oftentimes you'll see that when an accident occurs, the person involved in the accident, they don't call the police, or they don't stick around and wait for the police to get there to investigate the accident and then document it in the police report. Getting that information written down by the officer is pretty vital to the case and how it's going to play out. Now, there can be some discrepancies in the report. The fact of the matter is the police officer shows up after the accident occurs. So it's often a he said, she said conversation, but they look at the damage to the vehicles, if we're talking about a vehicular accident, and they try to put it together best they can. So having that is very important. And when people, don't wait around for it, or they're in a rush, or they lose patience, it can affect their case negatively. The other situation, or the other issue, would be that they don't seek medical treatment right away. Now, we know you get an accident, you can be feeling hurt, and maybe you try to tough it out for a couple of days, and if your pain doesn't go away, you need to go get it documented, right? But if they wait a couple of weeks before they go to get treatment, the insurance company uses all that against you, and only to say, well, if you were hurt, you would have gone right away. you know? And so that not waiting for the police to show up and do an investigation, and then not going ahead and documenting the injuries that you have as soon as possible and getting checked out, are two things that can really negatively impact, you know, your case.
Yeah. Okay. So you guys mentioned, I mean, that's really good advice for anybody who's just been in a car accident that isn't their fault, right? So, Aaron, you touched on a few things that makes your firm unique. Brennan, you touched on a few things that make your firm unique. And I know it's difficult to stand out in the marketplace, but if you guys can make one point for why I should choose Maples Conic, what would that be?
Yeah, I think it's a narrative that we've been very conscious about building within our brand from the beginning. It's just that we treat our clients like family. And it sounds cheesy, but it's true. I mean, you're going to have my cell phone. You're going to have Brendan's cell phone. There's a reason that there's pictures of our family on our website. It's because that's who we are and that's what's important to us. And, you know, we're not trying to build a transactional law firm in the sense that, you know, we want 1,000 clients and we're just running them through and settling their cases as fast as possible. We're trying to build lifelong standing relationships with clients who call and check in, you know, when nothing's going on, just because they care about us and we care about them. So, you know, if you're looking for an attorney who is going to legitimately care about you and care about your family and how you're doing as an individual, and also who is capable and competent and ready to go the distance and try your case if necessary, then I think I'm confident you'll find that at our firm.
And you know, Adam, I can give you a perfect example from this morning. I had a call on Saturday from a client, potential client. He said that he was going across the crosswalk on a bike in a town about an hour from New Orleans, where I'm based. He got hit by a car and he shattered his leg. He's got a steel rod in his leg, some screws in his ankle, and a plate in his leg as well. He said that he got the police report and it was completely incorrect. He had nothing to tell me other than that. He said, I wasn't going to pursue a claim until I realized that they're putting me at fault on the bike. And so I told him, I said, well, look, I'm going to come on Monday morning. I'm going to come drive to you. We're going to go into the town where the accident happened, and we're going to go see if we can find some video footage. So this morning I drove an hour out there. I picked him up. You know, he's on his crutches, and he comes, gets in the car with me. We go to the accident scene. We look at it. I go into a local cafe and I say, hey, you know, this crosswalk's right outside of your business. Do you have any cameras, you know, that would have captured my client getting hit? And the manager's sitting there and she's like, well, you know, I don't know. Let me pull my phone out. And we find the date on the phone and about the time range. And lo and behold, we get the video of him on the bike getting ready to cross a crosswalk. The car turns and hits him. And he's flat on the ground for 40 minutes. And, you know, at first when I'm talking to him on the phone, you don't always know if it happens how the person remembers, right? Because he did get impacted and he was severely injured. But when I'm looking at the video, I see that the police are asking questions about the accident to the other driver that hit him. And I can tell from the hand gestures of the other driver, you know, he's saying, I was like this. And that guy, he came like, you know, I can tell that from the video that they only took the other driver's statement. They didn't ask my guy who's on the ground writhing in pain, and they didn't follow up with him when he went to the hospital after. So we were able to get that footage. I went and dropped him back off at his house after, you know, and then I drove back to New Orleans, and it's going to be the most important part of this case. But, you know, the point is, I didn't mind taking the time out of my day to go do that, right? But some firms, they'll get to you when they can, or they're going to send an associate out, or they're going to, you know, find some other way to do it. But here with Maples and Conic, you're going to get me or Aaron. You know, we're going to be there and we're going to be here to help you. And, you know, that's just an example of kind of how we try to treat you like family. And he and I spoke on the phone on the way home, just kind of talking about it. And he was very pleased. And just because he felt vindicated, you know, that the accident happened like he said it did. So, you know, that's just an example of today, how it is for us. So anyway.
That's a fantastic example. I have no other questions, guys. Do you have anything else you want to add?
No, I mean, the only thing that I'd add is, you know, if you or a loved one thinks that you've been injured or have been injured or thinks that you need help, just give us a call. Like we've said, you'll get one of us. 504-269-3870. You can find us online at maplesconic.com, but we're happy to talk anytime. We appreciate your time, Adam.